You're listening to Crazy Shit in Real Estate. You'll be amazed at all these wild but true situations that others have found themselves in. Because on this show, you'll hear uncensored, unbelievable stories from the world of real estate. I'm Leigh Brown. Let's dive right in.
I'm Leigh Brown. This is Crazy Shit in Real Estate. Today I've got Chris Giannos with us, and we'll talk about real estate life, team life, and a product he's come up with, which is pretty interesting for raising that proverbial bar in real estate. So it's a little bit on the nerdy side, but some of y'all love that. So enjoy the conversation, and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
So is it Giannos?
Giannos, Chris Giannos. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I figured I was close because we have an Italian restaurant here in Concord called Gianni's.
Oh, cool. That's close.
It's very close, except for the O and the I.
There you go.
And they're really good. So I guess you're Italian somewhere in your DNA.
Greek. Close.
Oh, you're the Greek version. So you're
Greek.
Italian.
Yeah, so half Greek on my dad's side.
Which means you're kind of in the Greek mafia then, but not all the way because you're not working in a restaurant.
True. Correct. I would say initiated, but not practicing.
Our Greek mafia here runs all the restaurants, and my daughter has worked in like 4 of them.
Oh, that's funny.
She's basically an adopted Greek restaurant child now, which is hilarious.
I worked in Greek restaurants from when I was 13 to 17.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful family.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't nobody, she can go cross nobody. They're not going to cross her now.
My employer was so cheap that if I used to work like a half hour of overtime or something, he would give me a Coke, like a Diet Coke, instead of paying me for a half hour. He'd say, "Oh, you're good. Go grab a Coke." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, what's he going to do when we start getting the sodas out of our diets? He'd have to find something else to give you, maybe a roll.
He's going to have to, yeah.
So thanks for coming on the show. Tell my audience who Chris Giannos is, where you're located, what do you do in and around real estate? Tell them a little bit about you.
Yeah, for sure. So my name...
You're coming from a box, a very sterile box.
Yeah, so I'm in, I call it my Harry Potter office. I'm fortunate enough that I have some friends who own a couple of real estate brokerages here in Dallas. I recently moved here and was in the process of getting an office, and they're like, "We got you on an office." And turns out the office was a little Harry Potter box. So
it's 9 3/4. Did you put that on the wall?
I did, yeah. I'm close, getting close for sure. So my name's Chris Giannos. I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Humanize. In my past life, I ran I had a 250-person real estate team in Southern California. So I myself have been a solo agent. I've been a team leader. I've been an indie brokerage owner, and I've sold a lot of real estate, now building software.
Okay, so were you like an EXP kind of a downline 250-person team, or
Nope.
With 250 buyers agents and listing agents, and holy crap, that's a lot of people.
250 buyers agents and listings agents. So we were an independent brokerage.
Okay, that's far too many. I say is my little small but mighty brokerage here with the 4 of us. We're good.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was like herding cats, but I learned a lot about building teams and training agents and kind of helping them find success and stuff. So it was a very chaotic 2.5 years. So I scaled from 3 agents to 250 in about 2.5 years. And that's kind of where we built our software solution as an internal tool for my team first.
2.5 years. Oh my gosh, you were spending your time onboarding and adding people to your team. So I will just point out, friends, if you are a consumer who watches this show for real estate information, let me just lay out the schematic for you real quickly. You have realtors, so solo agent, which is what Chris is suggesting he started as.
Yep.
Then you have the teams, and that would be a team leader, agents and staff underneath them. And then you have a brokerage, which often the teams operate like mini brokerages, but under somebody else's supervision. So when you're out in the driving around world, you may see a yard sign that says Premier Real Estate Team, but it's part of RE/MAX. Well, there are leaders inside Premier Real Estate Team and agents that work under them. They're all under the RE/MAX umbrella, but it is honestly kind of hard for the consumer to know who's who. And when you called the number, who did you get? Have they even seen the listing about which you're calling? And there's a lot of situations that we're constantly working on in the real estate side as agents figure out how to express their entrepreneurial selves and what works best for the consumer. So it's a evolving space. And so if you're new to real estate or that's just not your bailiwick, I wanted you to understand the layout. So Chris, you went from, I think the biggest my team ever was 12. And I'm in a small version of myself now. And I'm sitting here in shock because 12 people to me was a gigantic team because I wanted to make sure that we were dotting every I and crossing every T and living
Yep.
in a little bit of constant panic over liability. How in the world do you sleep at night with 250 people? Did you have some vice presidents in your
Oh
team?
yeah, of
Some
course.
additional? Okay.
Yeah, so we had 14, like we called them pod leaders. So we had agents that were responsible. They were agents that were responsible for 15 to 20 people themselves. So think like teams within teams almost, right? We had a full back office, 5 or 6 transaction coordinators,
Okay.
an ISA department, inside salespeople, a chief compliance officer, administrators. It was to get to that size. There was a lot of support to do it. It wasn't just me. It felt like sometimes it was just me, right in the beginning, but there was for sure a group effort on that.
Okay, so let me ask you a question completely off topic because there is a conversation happening in and around the regulatory side of real estate all over the country right now, which has to do with
Clear
the
cooperation.
number of agents that should be under one person's supervision. So if I were to have you take out your decision-making wand and you could decide what is the maximum number of agents that one broker should have under supervision, in your opinion, if they're supervising per the
Yeah,
state laws?
I think there's a variable that I think is important to think about, right? Which is like, how much real estate are these people actually selling? Because when you look at like some brokerage models, there could be 100 agents at the brokerage and only 15 of them are producing and the rest of them are part-time doing maybe a deal every year or something. So I think it depends on how many units the brokerage is actually doing. From a supervising perspective, I don't know. If you have 20 or 30 full-time agents that are selling 15, 20 houses a year each, I think that's probably where you'd cap out, just in sheer like, hey, do you have a minutes? Right? Like
Right.
I'm not even involved in that company anymore. I still get calls from my agents, right? Saying, hey, my seller's doing X, Y, and Z. What should I do? And I'm like, I can help you, but I'm not the guy anymore. Right. So I don't know, 20 to 30 full-time producing agents. I think for every support, meaning like a supervising broker, I don't think it's more than 20 to 30 people. At that point, when you get to that scale, you should for sure have like a sales manager that's going to take some of that off your plate, just because the amount of liability you expose yourself to is crippling.
Oh, I agree. My number is 50, but it's
Yeah.
also because of that same concept that some are selling a lot, some are selling very few. But also in my 25 years, I've discovered that the riskiest agents are the ones who sell just a couple of properties because they don't have the muscle memory. They're not as skilled as the person who's doing 50 or 75 transactions a year, who's in it so frequently they've buttoned up their own system. So
Yep.
anyway, I had to drag you down that rabbit hole because I
I'm
do
happy
think
to.
we're going to see some changes in the regulatory space as we continue to watch the structure of organized real estate
I
move.
feel like there's so much change happening in our industry right now with clear cooperation and with this buyer's agents compensation stuff the last couple of months. Like, it's changing so rapidly that it is tough to keep up.
Okay,
Right.
did you read the article headline about Compass from yesterday? They're
I
rolling out
just did a post on Instagram that's going viral as we speak.
the
And
MLS look is back.
I'm pretty sure I'm getting some threats via DMs and
Oh,
stuff too.
is it
But
on your Instagram? On your
yeah, just
Gemini?
posted it. No, on my personal one. So it's Chris.Giannos. But I
Okay,
just did a
sure.
post about it like 15 minutes ago.
I've just been talking about it. I haven't posted about it yet, so I probably
Yeah,
once again missed my viral moment because I talk about things instead of doing it.
I don't know if it's a publicity stunt. And again, I'm unbiased. I have customers at pretty much every brokerage you can think of. Right?
There's great agents at every brokerage. It
Of
has nothing
course.
to do with Compass. It's just their new policy.
But the idea that somehow it's good for the consumer to make listings only available in a book in an office somewhere, I don't think that is like actually good for the consumer, right? It's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, we're going back to before I was selling real estate, right? Before a lot of us, I think, were even selling real estate when MLS books existed and stuff, right?
Well, I came into the business at the end of the book as we were
Okay.
looking for the green screen. So
Yeah.
I'm probably the end of the book
Yep.
people, but also my dad got in the business in 78. And so as a kid in the 80s, part of my job
You
was
saw it.
take the camera film to the quick develop place kiosk down at the mall, get the photos
Wow.
developed, put the two-sided tape on it and stick it in the book because we were advanced to have photos on daddy's listings, but
That's wild.
double taping it into the book. And I tell that to people, like, you're making that up. Like, not making it up.
No, I believe it.
That was the world.
I believe it. But it's a really good testament to agents, good ones at least, which it sounds like you and your father are, right? It's a really good testament.
Now, but he's a really good agent.
Yeah, it's just a testament to us as good agents always finding ways to provide value and be on the cutting edge. Back then, it was photos in the listing book, right? Now, it sounds like it's probably going to be access to off-market listings, right?
I do think that's going to fade quickly because the consumer's patience is about it's long now.
And it's interesting, and without getting too portal biased and stuff, but like I worked at Zillow for the first 5 years of my career. I started working there when I was 19 years old. I worked there for 5 years before I got into the real estate side, right?
So did you leave before Zach Shabbat went over there? Because Zach's my buddy.
I don't know Zach off the top of my head. I was in sales. I wasn't anyone important. I was making phone calls and slinging zip codes for like 3 years and then was a sales manager. But Zillow now, it's very interesting, this clear cooperation thing. Their argument is we're for the consumer, which is also for them, right? Like what's good for the consumer is what's good for Zillow. So it's very interesting that they've been able to position themselves as, hey, what's good for the consumer? We're going to fight for the consumer, but that's also protecting their own revenue. It's brilliant. It's 4D chess, in my opinion, right?
Well, they also know that the demise of the MLS will destroy the portals. And the more private listings there are, the less valuable the multiple listing is. But then also, those of us that are small brokerages, we're not going to have the same opportunity to compete as a large brokerage, but our consumers matter too. So what Zillow's point is, it is actually, as much as it might be cynical and profitable for them, it's absolutely the best thing for the consumer. But that's a whole different conversation. And it's going to be interesting to watch it evolve. And so I'm curious. So before we talk about your product, when you're managing 250 agents,
sure,
and you're on the Evil Empire portal when it's just getting started, before people really got mad about it, they were like, whatever, it's just a website. Yep. So curious to know, you've been in so many different angles. What is the craziest thing you've seen so far in real estate besides today with going back to the MLS book?
I've got a funny story. When I listened to a couple episodes of your podcast, right? And I was like, okay, I got some examples of like what kind of story I should pull out of the Rolodex. So we were big with Zillow Flex, which for your listeners who might not know what that is, Zillow Flex is a referral program with Zillow where they give you the leads at no cost up front. You pay a referral fee at the close, anywhere from 25 to 40%, right? Depending on the size of the transaction. My model was I would recruit lots of agents, right? 10 to 15 a month. We would onboard them and train them on basics of real estate because a lot of agents, and I'm sure you've experienced this, even people that have done some transactions don't know how to show a house, don't know how to conduct a buyer consultation, important things. So we would onboard them and then I would put them on leads and they would start immediately the first month, get 10 buyer leads with people that wanted to go out and see houses, right? So they got thrown into the deep end pretty quickly. And I had an agent who won't be named because I still know him. He's a good friend of mine. He got a lead for like a $2 million townhouse in Newport Coast, which in Orange County where I was at is like, that's a pretty decent sized deal, right? It's above the average median purchase price by about $1 million. And brand new agent, doesn't really know any better, right? Has his showing script if I was going to go and show this house. And I added this after this example to like their showing script to make sure that they had a disclaimer. But he had these customers, right? Newlywed couple, no kids or anything. They're walking through the house and I find out about all this third party. So he's walking them through the house. They go upstairs by themselves. And we found out about this because it ended up being on camera. They walk into the nursery and there's a picture frame on this like shelf, right? And what they didn't know was there was a nanny cam, like right there. I saw a picture of it. It for sure looked like a cam, like any capable, competent person would be like, oh, that's a camera in a nursery, right? There was a picture of the newborn baby right below the nanny cam, right, framed. And they got about this close to it, which was also this close to the camera, and said, oh my Lord, what an ugly baby, right?
Who does that?
I don't know. Leaves the showing, right? They're having the conversation out in front. They tell this agent, hey, we love this place. We want to buy it, right? We've got 50% down. Market's going crazy. Let's buy this thing.
You said my baby's ugly.
so that's what ended up happening was he called the listing agent, had a great conversation with him, right? Says, hey, we're going to put a deal together. I'm going to send you an offer over X, Y, and Z. Like 3 hours later, 4 hours later, after the sellers got home from work, I think they listened to the recording or looked at the cameras. And the listing agent called this agent and said, hey, the offer sounds great. They're not selling to your clients like under any circumstances. And he's like, we're putting 50% down. They're well qualified. This house has been on the market for 60 days. Like, what are you talking about?
Doesn't matter.
They're like, and the agent tells him, and the guy comes into my office and is like boo-hooing about a $2 million deal. And very quickly after that, I added to my show. So I've got a showing script that I coach all of our agents on. And at the intro now is, hey, just be aware, pretend that the entire time you were in this house, that just assume there's recording. Even if you don't see it, just remember that everything you say, someone could be listening to, right? So keep comments to yourself. We can have a conversation afterwards down the street, right? That became a very integral part of our showing script very quickly because of that example. So I call it the ugly baby story, and just assume if you're an agent that you're always on camera and someone's listening.
I mean, if you've watched House of Cards, you should know that everything's being recorded. And then what Project Veritas and James O'Keefe get people to say on camera, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
It's the world we're in here. But as a mother, I know not every baby is cute, but I think mine were perfect.
Of course.
I would totally flare up. And I am a logical, rational investor. I know real estate. I'd be mad as fire. I wouldn't have sold to them either. I'm on the side of the seller.
Yeah, it was a hilarious story. And this guy is a new agent. He wore that one for a couple of days, right?
Of course he did, because let's be honest, Chris, he'd already spent that money in his head.
Oh, 100%. He was already in Cabo.
We want this.
Yeah, he was already in Cabo. That same agent, funny enough, like, I don't know, 6 to 9 months later, ended up doing what the biggest transaction I've been a part of still ever. It was a $16.9 million transaction in Crystal Cove in Newport Beach. Sight unseen. They came in for 2 weeks, out of town buyer from overseas, bought the house cash, 7-day close. So he got his retribution and his karma. I still say though, that was the worst possible thing that could have ever happened to him, because it was the third transaction he ever did. Right.
Oh, so he's never going to be normal.
I'm a luxury real estate agent now. Oh, I'm like, okay, guy, like pump the brakes a little bit. So it's funny how this game works.
Yeah, I've never sold a house worth that much. It sounds good, but I'm good.
Yeah, I like units.
I know what kind of ego comes with that house.
Yeah, I like units. I like doing sides. I don't care how big it is. I'll sell any house.
But hey, if you're a luxury person watching this, I mean, still call me. I'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'll push the ego to the side. No problem.
Love that.
So if you're in real estate and you're listening to this podcast or watching it and thinking, man, I need some more Leigh Brown answers in my life. Well, guess what, friends? I have a new program that is launching right now called Answers.Realestate, where I will give you every bit of insight I have to help you grow your real estate business, help you better respond to consumers, to provide a more excellent real estate experience, so that the next time you land on crazy shit in real estate, you'll have a better solution to whatever you ran into. Answers.Realestate. There are monthly plans available. You will love it. Get your coaching. Sign up with me today.
All right, Chris, so tell us what Humanize is. What did you come up with? Why did you come up with it? Give us a little story on your new product.
So I built Humanize as an internal tool for my team first. We needed a tool that would systematically help with automating some of the recruiting funnel and onboarding funnel for agents. I found that there were, I want to say, like horizontal solutions like ADP and Greenhouse and things that were like EHR platforms for everyone, but real estate is so nuanced that I couldn't really find a solution. So in 2021-ish, we built the first version of it, and all it was an internal tool. I had some contractors that helped me build it because I'm not a software developer. And it stayed an internal tool for a very long time until like 2020, late 2023, early 2024. I coincidentally showed it to some friends that also ran a big real estate team up in Seattle. And they asked me, hey, can I use this thing? And I said, sure. And we kind of started a company on accident. So we're in 46 states now. We have several hundred customers we're working with. The platform itself does two things exceptionally well. The first is it automates the sourcing, screening, and scheduling of interviews with real estate agents that want to join a new team or brokerage directly into broker or team leader's calendar. So it automates the recruiting funnel. The second thing it does is allow teams and brokerages to set up one-click agent onboarding. So they set up the platform once. When they're ready to onboard an agent and hire them, they click a couple of buttons. It sends the agent a log into a portal, and they do all of their administrative work and compliance tasks and electronic signatures in one platform. So we call it an agent growth and management system, and we're having fun and building fast. We've got 13, 14 employees now. So it's been a wild ride.
So does that only work for big firms and big teams, or does it work for tiny firms like mine? Because I am so hands-on as a broker.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at recruiting. I admit it.
Yep.
And onboarding is kind of a mishmash.
Yeah. The answer is yes. We work with teams as small as 3 to 5 agents. We work with teams as big as, I don't know, 50,000. We've got some enterprise customers that have just a bajillion customers, right? Or a bajillion agents. So yes, the short answer is we can support growth levels of kind of all levels. And from a product standpoint, it's all very customizable. So if you have a need for just the onboarding tool, we can separate that out and you don't have to use the recruiting stuff and vice versa.
So what's the benefit to the consumer of your product? I mean, I can see the benefit to the broker is the time savings, and to the agent, they get faster onboarding, they understand rules of engagement. What's the consumer upside?
For consumers specifically, the way I would be thinking about it is, unfortunately in the US, and I don't think most consumers know this, in the US right now, you pass a 150 question multiple choice vocabulary test, right? And you can become a real estate agent. And that real estate agent knows how many square feet are in an acre, probably, right? And they know basic real estate history and stuff like that, and lease pendants and all the cool buzzwords. But for the most part, there's not really a whole lot of, they know how to do real estate, which is scary. And why? I think consumer expectation and consumer, I guess, confidence in agents isn't super high, right? When you think about, there's a stat that I heard recently that real estate agents are lower on the totem pole in terms of trust. We're lower than used car salesmen and plumbers.
But we're higher than Congress. I just want to point out.
Correct. We are higher than politicians. 100% higher than politicians, right? But like, we've got a rap that exists because there's not really a huge barrier to getting into this industry, right? So I think the benefit for a consumer, especially with our platform, you're not going to feel the benefit directly, but we have tools in our platform where teams and brokerages can actually build out training and enablement in our system, where when a new agent joins their team, instead of them just joining and here's your business card order form, here's a key to the front door, have fun. We actually are starting to see more and more brokerage and team customers build out like full universities in our platform, teaching agents how to actually do their job and serve consumers at the highest possible level. So much so that there's like an education system in here now. So the way an idea, I think, a benefit for a consumer would be is you can be confident that agents that get onboarded and trained through our system are coming out on the other end better enabled to serve you as a consumer, right? And it's not perfect science, but it's something that I'm super proud of. And it's not necessarily about serving consumer. I've got this overarching goal in my head. 85% of real estate agents fail out of the industry within their first 5 years, right? I think that's due to a lack of education and agents not finding themselves to the correct brokerage out of the gate. Like, I'm sure agents that make it to you, Leigh, they crush it, right? Like, they have a great time and find success because you're hands-on and you're coaching them, right? The scary thing is when they find their way to just a brokerage where, hey, here's your key to the front door, have fun. And like, then what? They fail and it's not good. So I think that by impacting that 85% number with training and making sure that agents find their way to the right team or brokerage out of the start, I think that's going to save everyone a lot of pain, right? Including the consumer.
Okay, so I have an online university. It's Leigh Brown University. It's good for my agents. And of course, I've got some brokerages in the country that have white labeled it for themselves.
Oh, cool.
I'm glad to do that. So is there a way to load Leigh Brown University into Humanize for ABC Realty in Illinois that wants to offer it to their agents and then custom brand it for themselves? Is that possible?
100%. We have a marketplace that we're working on. It's not ready yet. We have people that are doing this kind of like on a beta test now, and you and I can talk about that offline.
I'm just sitting here thinking, because the person who's using my university, I know will watch this episode, and that's the first ringy-dingy I'm going to get is, hey, can you put your university in this platform? So Chris, you're going to have to get me an answer to that.
Yeah. The short answer is yes, right? The ultimate vision I have for this, Leigh, in terms of where I see it going is we want to enable. There's a lot of coaches and team leaders and people that do a lot of consulting in real estate. Like real estate coaches, there's tons of people that are speakers and educators and all this stuff. there's not really a centralized place for them to share their stuff with the marketplace yet, right? So
Because
part of
most of them wouldn't, because they don't want to be shopped amongst their peers.
yeah, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? Like your content, I'm sure is killer, right? Like you'd take your content to stack up against someone else's any
Of
day of the
course,
week.
I'm a practitioner. I still
Yeah.
do business, and so, but it's an interesting space for sure.
Yeah. So the idea is like eventually marketplace functionality inside the platform where if I'm a team leader, I can go, okay, I want my agents to get better at listing presentations for whatever, probate type sellers. Cool. Leigh's got a course on that. I can purchase it, get it assigned to my agents, and then there's some sort of distribution there. We put about 30,000 agents a year through Humanize now, right? So last year, about 2% of the agent population found their way through our platform.
What's the goal? How many do you want to have come through there?
So this is like you get into the secret strategy stuff, but here's my goal. There's 147,000 agent moves that happen every year. So 147,000 times a year an agent switches teams or brokerages. I'd like to have all of them, right, happen through our platform. So
hey, have a goal.
Which I don't think is super out of the gate, but we did 30-ish last year. This year we're on pace to do about 65, 70. With some features that we have and some front end stuff we're building, I'm sure we'll be able to get over 100 at some point just because of how discombobulated it is. Think about how an agent decides if they're going to switch teams or brokerages now. It's just crazy.
Yes, they're totally guessing. And by the way, the probate class is not me. That's Buddy West. He's got the probate class. It's good. But I brought him to my market and opened it up to all the agents that anybody wants to learn this, come take the class because it's great information, which what the marketplace will have is a great resource of information so we can improve real estate. Everybody's talking about raising the bar all these years and it's education.
No one's doing it. Yeah. It's crazy.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to let you off the hook here. We already talked about the product. I'm still flummoxed by you running 250 people. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you think about the fact that 10% of the agent population is moving every year, which is more than I expected, to be honest, there's so much inertia in this business because of the cost of moving. What would you say is the number one reason agents change brokerages in the world that we're in right now? I don't think it's money.
No, it's not. I know. So we survey a lot of agents that go through our platform, so we get some really good data on why, right? It's not anecdotal at this point. For the most part, most agents are switching right now as they feel like they don't have a direct connection with someone who cares about their business, right? Which I know sounds like people like you and I that are drivers. I don't need someone to care about I need tools. Give me tools to make money. I don't care if you want to talk to me or not.
We're
Give
not
me the tool. Wind me up and get out of my way, right? The number one reason why when polled agents said they switched brokerages was they felt like they didn't have a direct connection with someone who cares about their business, right? Which that's the story as old as time. I knew when I was recruiting people that were doing 10, 15 million a year in production, which where I was at was like a good chunk of production. It took me a year sometimes to get someone to come across the finish line, right? And it wasn't a year of me bugging them. It was a year of me poking these people every so often, checking in on. And then I would get the call, hey, Chris, so-and-so just shortchanged me on a commission check. There's some weird new office fee and I don't like it. And they're not going to bend. So what does it look like for me to come work with you? So number one, it's usually like a people-driven move. They don't feel like they're getting loved on, which is so easy to fix as a team leader, right? Meet with your people at least once a month, one-on-one, individually. If you do that, your churn will dramatically decrease, right? The second thing was money. A lot of agents, I don't know if you saw that stat recently, Leigh, 72% of agents haven't sold a house in the last 12 months. Did you see that? Which
the actual stat is they sold between 0 and 1, which tickles me to no end.
Scarier.
That means you've sold nothing or you participated with somebody who also that's all they sold.
Yeah, it's scary. And knowing that stat of the 150,000 or so agent moves that happen every year, you want to know what the biggest group of movers was?
The no producers.
Yeah, people that sold 0 to 1. Yeah. Right. So there's this disease, and this is for all your agent listeners that I would be thinking about. Don't get the disease where if your production isn't where you want it, you look in the mirror and blame everyone but yourself. I promise you that no brokerage or team you go to is going to do it for you. Right. Ultimately, you're going to have to look in the mirror and say, hey, what am I not doing to find success? But agents do this thing where they look in the mirror and go, whose fault is this? It's my broker's fault.
Somebody else.
Right? It's my broker's fault. I'm going to move brokerages. That'll solve everything. That's a trap. Don't fall for it. Double down on your work ethic and usually good outcomes happen. So.
Okay, Chris, now you're just being crazy talk. You're trying to solve society's problems now, but you are in definitely the somebody else space society. So great realtors, you now have to fight off the whole societal pressure to not claim responsibility and do what you did and buckle down and work. I mean, hard work is the answer to a whole lot, isn't it?
Everything, almost everything can be solved. My wife and I talk about that frequently. We're getting ready to have kids and I'm like, I want my children to grow up.
Are you expecting?
Not yet.
Come on.
We're working on it. We're working on it. And I want my kids to grow up knowing that the pathway to everything they want is just putting their head down and working. Right. And that they can't get used to a lifestyle just because dad has it. Right. So I think about that stuff a lot, but you're 100% right. Like the solution to most problems is like work your way through it and good outcomes are on the other end.
Well, as a bird launcher myself, I will say that I gave my kids far too much. My husband agrees with me now. We did have chores. We did have some guardrails, but we should have made it harder on them because they're a little too soft for my liking. They'll toughen up. So, Chris, if somebody wants to reach out to you and find out about Humanize, about you, about any of these things that we've discussed today, but you probably can't promise them they'll get a $16 million sale. Let's just
not yet
out there. What's
the
the best way for them to find you?
Easiest way to get a hold of me is on Instagram. So my handle is at my first name dot my last name. So at chris.giannos. From there, you'll be able to find your way to our website, to any type of content we've put out, anything like that. So that would be the single easiest way to get a hold of me.
And of course, you know what I'm going to say, y'all. All of the contact information for Chris is in the show notes for this episode. So if you were listening to it driving down the road, please keep your hands at 10 and 2, and you can check the handle when you get to the stoplight and click follow. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us insights. And thank you for what you're doing to help just generally raise the bar in real estate. It's really good stuff.
Love it. Thank you for having me, Leigh. It was a pleasure.
All right, guys, hit the bell to subscribe. Say something nice about Chris in the comments, and I'll see you next time.
By the way, friends, don't miss my brand new coaching program at answers.realestate, where you can have access to Leigh Brown, submit your questions, have them answered, meet like-minded professionals, have an entire library to help you build your business no matter what happens in the market. Get signed up today. I promise you'll be glad you did. As always, I'm so super thrilled that you joined in for more crazy shit. And if you're a realtor, investor, inspector, lender, or just a regular human being who happens to have an unbelievable story that you need to tell the world about, or frankly, you just need to one-up the story you just heard, then make sure to DM me on Instagram at Leigh Thomas Brown, or tweet me at Leigh Brown, or frankly, any social network where you hang out. I'm there. And if you had some fun, then you totally won't just subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.